Hey, I'm Alex, or Brain Genius Academy, or Double A. You might know me as the editor for the YouTube channel Brian F. And I'm here today with JM Crofts.
Yo, what is up, guys? I'm so excited. Look at us, a podcast. Who would have thought? You and me together on a podcast. A lot of people, I think they don't know. We're longtime friends.
Yes. Yeah, since way back, right? Since the cradle.
Essentially, since I was but a child. And, through the sheer powers of serendipity, we've both kind of ended up in this YouTube game together. Isn't that interesting? Me just as a YouTuber and you as an editor, SEO extraordinaire, title and thumbnail extraordinaire.
Nah, bro, you're my inspiration, dog. Like, no
coincidence. Is that how it wasn't serendipity?
Definitely. No, we have always, like you said, we've known each other a long time, and we've been doing the YouTube game for a while now, and so we wanted to get together and do this, just to talk. We're always talking about YouTube stuff. Maybe too much, but why not put it out there for the people to follow along and maybe learn something too. So today we have the biggest, baddest topic right off the bat, right? Like, you gotta hit this one.
we gotta really dispel some notions with this one.
Yes, and that is the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm. Cue the horror stings, right?
Yeah. So I had posted on Twitter. I was like, hey, if you could ask any question about how to get started on YouTube, how to get better at YouTube, how to become more proficient at YouTube in general, what would your question be? And the vast majority were some flavor of, how do I do good on the algorithm? How do I make the algorithm like my videos? How do I appeal to the algorithm? That kind of thing. And yeah, like you said, this is definitely, we have the Illuminati Discord chat where we're always swapping ideas and talking about what's going on in terms of YouTube. And I feel like this is one of those things that time and time again, we see so many misconceptions about the big bad algorithm.
Yeah. We could just have the shortest podcast ever and say, hey, don't worry about it. Doesn't exist. Which, maybe is not strictly true, but the algorithm definitely doesn't exist in the way people are imagining when they ask those questions, right?
Definitely, for sure. At the end of the day, if you're a YouTuber of a reasonable size, your views come from the algorithm, in the sense that the vast majority of my views are people who are on their YouTube homepage. They see one of my videos pop up and they decide to click it, right? That's the vast majority of my views. It's not people searching JM Crofts in the search bar, or, going to their subscriber feed or getting an alert. That's the minority. So at the end of the day, we are getting views because of the algorithm. But yeah, I think this notion that there is a certain type of content that the algorithm likes, and that's the type of content that you should make, I think is a very, very incorrect way to think about things. So I'm hoping we'll be able to correct that a little bit for people.
Yeah, definitely. The algorithm is not a third party, like a arbiter who's sitting by with their own likes and preferences, right? Because that's how people always talk about it. They say, oh, don't do that in the thumbnail. The algorithm doesn't like it.
It's a shame. It's a shame that AI wasn't as big of a thing when the YouTube algorithm started being a talking point, because then everybody would call it AI.
Oh, absolutely.
If YouTube were invented in 2023, everyone would be talking about the AI. The AI decides if you get clicks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the AI just doesn't like me, man. I've pissed it off somehow.
I mean, okay, so at the end of the day, the views for most of your videos will come from algorithmic recommendations. So how do we get that algorithmic recommendation? That's the question, right? So I feel like for me, there's two things, right? There's two metrics that you really need to hit to explode on the algorithm, to catch on the algorithm.
Yeah.
There's two metrics. I have a feeling that you can probably say exactly what I'm thinking right here.
Wow. Let me just read your mind. Is it the click-through rate and the watch time?
Those are the two, for sure. And if you guys are aspiring YouTubers and you didn't know that, that is definitely the two most important metrics. Let me just hammer home for you, are click-through rate and watch time. That's what you need to hit, guys. So this is kind of why I always say that, the algorithm, pleasing the algorithm is kind of a myth, right? Because really who you have to please are the viewers. Yeah. You have to make a title and thumbnail that convinces them to click. That's what gives you click-through rate. And then you have to make a video that is engaging to watch, that keeps people watching for a long time. Yep. So that's watch time. So there's no PogChamp face detector in the algorithm, and you have to make a PogChamp face and then it'll reward you with views. No, guys, it's easier than it sounds. Just make videos that people like to click and that they like to watch for a long time, right? It sounds easy, but Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to it as well, I guess.
Yeah, it's something I've told people who have, whoever asks me this, I might have stolen this from you, but I say the algorithm is just people. Like, if you appeal to people, you are appealing to the algorithm. I think a lot of people get into this trap of like, well, me personally, I don't like pog faces, so I don't click on those videos. Therefore, like, it just must be the algorithm deciding that those are. It's like, no, actually, all those are, like, you're surrounded by pog face clickers. I don't know if not to scare anybody.
I mean, I think we'll probably have a lot more to say about pog faces as we go on and get to some of these specific questions. But there was one question that I wanted to point out in particular, which was this one that says creative videos that don't fit the algorithm or search words often underperform, but tier lists and combo videos do super well. How do I balance that? How do you motivate yourself to not be down on the results of your favorite videos? So yeah, this is something where, like, when I saw this, I was like, well, actually, I feel like a lot of my most successful videos are my most creative videos, like ones where I feel like, oh, I've actually come up with a really good idea here. Those tend to end up doing. I feel like it's rare that I'm like, I feel and I know in my heart that a video is good and it just does horrible.
Right.
I feel like usually I can tell, like, okay, this wasn't that good of a video, and then it doesn't get that many views. But usually I can tell, like, oh, I think this is a really good video and it does well. Do you feel that way too? Can you kind of sense it?
Yeah, I think the kind of misconception that's happening here is combo videos and tier lists kind of have like an automatic appeal to them that kind of provides like a immediate like barometer. Like right here, like, okay, that's a video that's gonna do fine, right? But the really creative ones, like you're saying, like things that have like an interesting hook and like a well-made video throughout it is gonna do like just fine or much better than a kind of generic tier list video, because you know what's gonna happen in a tier list video, which is like a gift and a curse, right? So people are going to click on it, but some people are going to go like, it's just a tier list. Like, I just saw this other guy's tier list in the same game. I'm good.
Yeah. You know? And they don't necessarily, most people don't want a tier list from Joey Donuts down the street. You know, they want a tier list from Justin Wong or Brian F. Or they want, they want an authority. That's kind of what gets them to click. But I think there is a way that certain types of more derivative content does kind of please the algorithm, in the sense that tier lists and like top 10 lists are a big one for me. Like, those are algorithmically friendly content, but the reason why they're algorithmically friendly is because inherently they are clickable. People like to click top 10 lists and tier lists because they know what they're going to get, and you get good watch time, because no one's going to watch the first 2 minutes of a tier list video. They're probably going to watch the whole thing, because they want to see how every character, or like a top 10, they want to stay till the end. Yeah. So yeah, like, because you put the number one thing at the end of the video in a top 10, that drives up watch time. So again, like, you're driving up those metrics that cause you to get views. So I think that's why those kind of feel like algorithm bait, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think part of it is it's very low barrier to entry. Like you said, it's appealing, but also like inherently, when you see a video like that, you know it's going to be explained to you. You know that you don't need to have that much knowledge coming into it, because JM Cross is going to sit there and be like, the reason Cable is so busted,
Yeah, and like showing like little video clips, like showing a character doing their combo and being like, yeah, this kind of shows why they're good. Yeah.
And not just like holding out till the number one thing, because I think the real way to watch tier list videos is go to the end where you see the whole thing, so you can see where your character is, and then you go back and watch it. But with both those kinds of videos, like, that if you bring up a top 10 of something and it hits a character or a game or whatever they're top 10ing that day, and you don't like that section, you've only got like 90 seconds to go before something new and interesting comes up. I think that keeps people around as well. This all goes back to exactly what you said, where that's the algorithm. People clicked on it, people stuck around and watched it. Oh, the algorithm loves it. Like, yeah, it's because people liked it, or maybe they didn't like it, they just can't click away. You're just too good at making videos.
Yeah, I say a lot of stuff about like YouTube. Like, in general, I feel YouTube rewards good content to a pretty good degree. Like, if a video is really like creative and fun to watch and has a good concept, it can blow up out of nowhere. An example I remember we both talked about was like the guy who brought home a lobster from the grocery store and raised it as a pet. Did you see that video? That guy had like no subscribers, but that video got like 100 million views just because it was such a good video, because everyone's curious, because we can all relate to seeing lobsters at the grocery store, so anyone could click on that thumbnail. Stuff like that. You definitely don't already need to be a big creator to catch on to the algorithm. You just need to make content that really like overperforms where you're at right now. So I think a lot of people ask like, well, how do I even get started? Because when you're a brand new YouTuber, your videos aren't showing up on people's homepages. So how can you get click-through rate if your videos aren't showing up, right?
Let me ask you, did you do outside YouTube like marketing? And by that, I mean like spamming your video places, posting it where people could see?
I did. This is something people ask about a lot, whether it helps. And I think it probably helps to a degree. I think it is 100% possible to get huge on YouTube completely through YouTube. Mm-hmm. But it can be a little harder to get started because, yeah, like I said, people aren't seeing your video because it's rare that you see like a 0 view video on your homepage. Like, it kind of never happens. So sometimes you will end up annoying people. That's definitely happened to me. Like, get shadow banned on Reddit because you're self-promoting too much. But I think in general, like stuff like submitting to event hubs, they have a tip line. You can be like, hey, I made this cool video. I think people would be interested. And you never know, like they could feature you, put you in like a roundup, or like Reddit is a good place. Twitter, if you have a following on Twitter, I think you can make it happen. If you don't have a following on Twitter, it might not help. But yeah, I did definitely used to do those things for sure.
Definitely. I mean, maybe if tweet at some, like you've made a video that's like, yo, check out JM Croft's like amazing gameplay, or like I'm gonna break it down, and then JM Crofts retweets that, maybe something like that.
Yeah, no, I actually I do think that that's a good strategy as well. I did have some people ask like, how do you go about collabing when you're a new creator? Like if you're not established, like, do you just like cold DM people, which I think is totally fine, to be honest. People DM me a lot, and I don't always respond to all of them because I get a lot of DMs. But I don't think you should feel bad about just randomly reaching out to a YouTuber you like, being like, hey, I have this idea for a video. Would you be interested in being on my channel? A lot of people might just not respond, which, people are busy, so it's understandable. But I don't think you're going to offend anybody. So definitely don't be afraid to do that.
This is part of like a larger topic that I don't think we want to super dive into right now, but there's definitely different like stages of growth in YouTube, where when you're at the very beginner, the things that big channels, even when you're at like a decent size, the things that huge 1 million+ subscriber channels do like doesn't really apply to you. So yeah, the algorithm is not necessarily going to be your friend when you're tiny, because it doesn't know anything about your channel, right? It doesn't know like you this is kind of where like tags come into play, right? Like you can kind of help guide it, like, yeah, I'm about Street Fighter, I'm about whatever my topic is, but it doesn't really know, because if no one's clicking on you, it can't see like, hey, people who click on this also click on, which is the big thing it's doing, right? It's finding those patterns. So I think that's where maybe more algorithm frustration kicks in. Like, hey, I'm making my video and it's got all the same tags as Brian F's video. Like, why isn't it in the recommends for Brian? Well, people aren't clicking on it yet. If you get some of those same people to click on it.
Well, do we want to? We had actually a specific question about this. What should we be trying to optimize when it comes to descriptions, hashtags, and regular tags? Do you have thoughts about this? Well, I think one we can immediately get out of the way is regular tags, right?
Regular
tag, the tag section on YouTube does nothing.
It's I think it's just there, like it's vestigial, right? It's like an appendix or something.
It's a deprecated feature.
Yeah.
It's my understanding from talking to people at YouTube. Literally, the only purpose for regular tags is if there's something that is going to be like spelled wrong in your video and you want to have the right spell. So, for example, if I was going to make a video and I wanted to call it like JM Gamen, and I spelled Gamen like GAMEN or something, then you can put the word gaming spelled correctly in the tags. I think that's the only remaining purpose of tags. But
excellent, we love to see it.
Other than that, don't worry about tags. Tags do nothing. But what about hashtags? I actually rarely do hashtags on my videos.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I haven't done any experimentation with them, right? One thing I see a lot of people do is hashtag it with their own name, right? Just so it like combines your videos together and you get yourself in your own recommends.
That's a good idea,
right? And then just like, so you get what, like 3 hashtags before they stop like getting factored in or something. Is that the real rule, or is that
something like that? I don't know.
So the 3 tags are usually like the channel name, the
FGC,
Street Fighter in this case.
Street Fighter.
And then more specifically, I think we do Street Fighter 5. And then Street Fighter 6 when that's the thing. So like I do it, but I'm not obsessing over the hashtag. Listen,
I'm not really a hashtag believer. I don't really think about it.
Yeah, it's with the tags, you should do that thing where you can have it so like whatever video you upload has the same tags. I would just, like I would just do that and just never think about it again. With the hashtags, I just copy paste them.
Regular tags don't matter at all.
Zero.
Hashtags, we don't know. Maybe they matter. Then what about descriptions? I actually do put a lot of thought into my description.
Yeah, I actually do a decent amount, but mostly, here's what I'm trying to hit. With Brian F. specifically, he's been doing the Road to Warlord series, right? So what I always try to do in the descriptions is just name drop a couple of the characters he's playing against. Yeah, is that what you do?
Yeah, me too.
Because if people searching like Brian F. Abigail to see like, oh, he fought Abigail in something, I wanted to come up with like, oh, here's a video where he played, I don't put every single character, but like I try to include in the description a couple things that'll hook people, maybe grab some searches.
I do pretty cringe descriptions where I try to get every keyword that I think people are going to search. So I'm be like, we're back again with another Street Fighter 4 video, so that we get that. I'm playing my Chun-Li against some really good M. Bison, Ryu, Balrog players, like get them all landing lots of hype combos because people are searching like Chun-Li combos, so I want to hit that. So like I do try to fit the keywords. So my descriptions I think are probably a little cringe to read because they are just like me chalking it full of search terms. But yeah, I do actually write a bespoke description for everyone, which is there are some big YouTubers that don't even have a description, or they just have like follow me on Twitter and that's it, and it's the same in every video. So maybe I'm overthinking it, but
I think that could be a case of like they get big channel privilege where they have so much momentum at this point that like people are seeking them out, they're not getting recommended them anymore, right?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, I could be overthinking it too, right? As you were saying that, I was like, damn, I gotta start putting like rage quit in the description when that happens. Yeah, people love rage quits, right?
And the other thing is, I pretty much do chapters for every video. I think chapters are the best feature on YouTube. I'm obsessed with chapters. If you're making YouTube videos, chapters on every video, I swear.
To clarify, chapters are the things where it's like the timestamps and it automatically like shows.
Yeah, this video will have chapters as well, for sure.
Right.
There's a few reasons why chapters are so good. One is that I think it drives up your watch time. So like if someone's getting bored and they would, click on a different video, instead they might just click a future chapter. So you kind of save them as a viewer. So I think it's useful for that. And it's useful for SEO. So you can jam in all those keywords. You can jam in, like this is the part where I fight a poison player in this chapter. So then people who search poison, your video will come up because you have poison in the description. So it's good for that too. And I think just in general, it makes videos more fun to watch, more watchable, and it helps you upload longer videos without people getting bored. So I'm a huge chapter supporter.
Yeah, I absolutely, if it's like a topic video and there's going to be a lot, it's long and there's a lot of stuff covered for the exact reasons that you just said, like I want people to go to the next chapter if the current one's boring. I don't want them gone. And you can see it. Do you ever go into the YouTube studio and see like where your points of interest are in the videos? And it's always like right where the chapters are because people are like skipping
you always
ahead.
Get a spike of retention around every
because
chapter.
People see the thing, they say, oh, that part sounds interesting. Oh, he's talking about rage quits. Let's go there.
And like we said, one of the top 2 metrics for succeeding on the YouTube algorithm is watch time, which comes with retention. So anything you can do to increase your watch time, I think is really important. But if I were to gracelessly switch subjects here, if we wanted to talk about the other metric, the click-through rate, I wanted to bring up this question we were asked where someone pointed out my thumbnail and title selection. They said, my last few videos have moved away from the typical pog face.
Oh my god! He just hit me with the jam cross pog face.
I know. You got that one for free.
I know, right? Dude,
we charge for that. So is this a style decision or an algorithm-based decision? And which one do you value more? So I have an easy answer for this, which is that I feel that a big part of your titles and thumbnails should be standing out. You have to stand out from the fleet. Yes. And so I think for a long time, pog faces, big words, they helped you stand out for sure because, people's eyes are drawn to flashy, exciting things. But now I'm kind of starting to wonder, maybe I stand out more by doing these sort of anti-thumbnails that are like deliberately a little bit weird and a little bit, breaking the mold of my usual stuff. So I feel like in a way I'm constantly trying to find new ways to stand out. So this is kind of my current experiment is all lowercase titles. Weird thumbnail. That's what I'm going for.
It's
a
very
now.
Casual, like anti-hype.
Exactly.
Going on there. And I love it. I love what you're doing over there. It's fun. I think the thing to recognize is that the pog facing and the text in the thumbnail itself, right? I think those are just tools. and you have to kind of like understand how to use them, when to use them. Some channels, obviously huge channels that are especially geared towards kids, right? They make great use of them. Like they just spam them because kids keep clicking on them, right? For me, for example, right, I get a lot of good feedback on the thumbnails I do for Brian F on the Road to Warlord, where it's like mostly just the characters in the game in funny situations or amusing poses, right? But as soon as it's like a Capcom drops some Street Fighter 6 news or something, I'm throwing his face in there because everybody's gonna have a video called OMG new Marissa footage. And I want you to know this is Brian F's, you know, this is this guy's, you know, that is like when that becomes crucial to me. I don't want you just, you know, the other thumbnails are funny and they make you laugh and they might make you click. But with those kinds of like, you know, factory press reaction videos, I want, like you said, you have to stand out. And I think that's how you do it is people say, I know this guy from the other videos. Let me see his take on this topic. And that's
and to be honest, you know, it's such a meme, like pog faces and like, you know, thumbnail faces are like such a meme. But if you think about it, like you can communicate so many ideas and so much complexity with a picture of someone's face. So like think of everything that you're communicating with the face picture. You're showing who the person is. So it's Brian F. So I can tell instantly this is going to be a Brian F video. So it communicates that. It communicates the tone of the video. Is it a funny video? Is it a, you know, a surprising video? Am I going to be reacting to something? Am I going to be upset in this video? Am I going to be salty and raging? So you can communicate the emotion. You can like kind of show a preview of like what the production quality will be like as well. So like if someone sees your face and it's like, you know, a high quality image and maybe you put the effort in of doing some borders or drop shadows or something, it like shows a little bit of the production quality of your channel as well. So I just feel like so much a picture of a face says 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
You know,
that's exactly what I tell people when they're like, why does everyone do this? It's the emotion. Humans, like, not to get all biological about it, but humans react to that. They respond to emotions and they mirror
coded
it back.
to look at each other's faces. And,
It's lasted this long. It's a meme for a reason, right? Like, it's just what works. People respond to that. They look at someone being excited. They're like, I'd like to be excited. I'll click on this video, right? Like, it's literally that simple.
A lot of my videos, I have a thumbnail of me laughing, which, you know, like, immediately when you see that, you're like, okay, it's a JM video and something funny is going to happen in the video. So you're kind of already primed for the experience. And if someone out there is looking for a video that's going to make them laugh, you know, they're probably going to click one where someone's laughing in it. So don't underestimate the power of a pog face. But at the same time, you know, I think that you can really get that extra edge on YouTube by going the extra mile to be creative and to think of new ideas. Like a lot of times I see like new thumbnail ideas. I see them on YouTube and I'm like, wow, that is really, really creative. That makes me want to click the video. You know, how could I do something like that in my videos in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. That and since a lot of these questions are coming from a place of like, how do I do this? How do I like defeat the algorithm, or like how can I use it to my advantage? Honestly, just go look at the trending videos on YouTube, like especially in the gaming section, because you know a lot of them are going to be music or you know something political happening. But like you look in the trending gaming section, you're going to have thumbnail ideas, title ideas. I am awful with titles, and that's something I've had to do. Is like, what are people doing right now? Like, are we still in our all caps many question marks phase? Or have we moved into a new title meta? Are we back in the like ... at the end phase? Because
I love a good ...
Yeah.
I also love a good deliberate misspelling in the title. I don't know if I'm quite at that level where I'm going to start incorporating that on my channel, but I do like when channels do that, because then it looks like you didn't even try. You know, it's like
that's the
sometimes the lack of effort is almost more charming than high effort.
That's like the direction you're going, right? As you said, like the lowercase, and
I want to make it look like I just rolled out of bed and hit upload. All right, do we have much more to say about algorithms, or do we want to move on to the Q&A
I mean,
segment?
just to conclude on it, the thing to understand about the algorithm is like it doesn't exist. It's just people, like we said at the start, right?
Someone's gonna take us out of context and be like, these scrubs are saying that these lying YouTubers, they want all the views for themselves, so they lie and say the algorithm doesn't exist.
Okay, you phrase it. You say it.
I mean, it does exist, but yeah, like at the end of the day, if you optimize click-through rate and watch time, you'll do well on the algorithm. And the way that you maximize those things is learn how people think, learn what kind of videos people like to watch, what they like to click on, what's doing well on YouTube. That's how you do well on the algorithm. You don't look up some kind of cheat sheet of like what are algorithm approved thumbnail concepts, you know?
You just reach out to the people and you you give them a reason to click your video. And then once they're there, you give them a reason to stick around. That's literally it. It sounds like way too simple to be true, but at the end of the day, it kind of is.
And you know, we're saying all this stuff about like it's that easy. Obviously, it's hard to blow up on YouTube. Like many people upload YouTube videos a lot and never really see success. So you do have to get lucky to a degree. You do have to be competitive to a degree. You have to be, you have to paying close attention to what works, trying to stay ahead of what other channels are doing and be creative. But at the end of the day, just got to make videos people like to click and they like to watch for a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can move on to some questions here. I've collected some of the questions people asked that I thought we might have some insight on.
Hit me.
So this is one we already covered a bit. Is self-promotion important, such as using other socials like Twitter, Instagram, and whatnot? So yeah, kind of like I said before, I don't think it's super important. I would say it's maybe like 10% frosting on top of whatever you're doing. I think your primary focus should be make a really, really good video. Because I think if you make a really good video, even if it's in a niche subject, I think YouTube definitely has the potential to reward it. So that's how I personally feel.
I think you're mostly right, but for those like really tiny channels, like we said before, throw them on Reddit. Like find the appropriate Reddit subreddit for it. Just like get it out there. And what's nice about that is you don't need as good of a thumbnail. You know what I mean? You're coming
yeah,
out
that's true.
Like as long as your video is good and you have like a Reddit post that's like, oh, I hit this super on everybody in the Street Fighter 6 beta.
I fought the best 12 player on Fightcade.
Okay, so yeah, you got something
really
like that, and then you just throw it up on Reddit. People are going to see that title and they'll click through, and as long as the video's good, they stick around. Now there's your watch time, right? And I guess it doesn't give you any click-through rate, but YouTube at least is going to respond to that. All those Redditors that just clicked on it are going to have other videos that they watch, and it's going to be like, people who like this new video. Let's start recommending it to people like that. And there you go.
Yeah, that's one of the really addictive things about YouTube is that like you get that instant feedback of like, oh, people are watching 20% longer on this video. And you can really start to see like if you have like a video that kind of bangs, that outperforms your usual videos, then maybe the next one will have higher impressions because YouTube will experiment with showing your videos to more people. And then if you can keep up a high click-through rate and all that stuff, it'll show it to more and more people, and it snowballs. So it can be really addicting once you get going.
Yes, absolutely. No, one thing I'm going to say is I think once you've hit a certain point, that stuff stops being as important, right? Like, I don't think you go on Reddit anymore and post your videos yourself. Like,
I don't tweet them either. No.
Yeah. Once you hit it's kind of like that big channel privilege, like medium channel privilege or whatever, where it's like, okay, you no longer have to like shill for yourself. Now you just have to worry about your thumbnails getting better and.
Yeah, basically. All right, I got another one here. Do you have to steer away from certain games since they may not bring in the views a more popular series would get? We're getting a little spicy here.
Are you gonna say it?
I will say, personally, I definitely do. Personally, I quit uploading Guilty Gear Strive videos because my audience didn't like it. My usual viewers were not interested in watching Strive, so I quit uploading videos for it. Same with like Melty Blood, stuff like that. So unfortunately, I have had to make those types of decisions. But I also think that you can build up a following for almost any game. Like think of people like Moopoke. Moopoke was getting a lot of views uploading Persona 4 Arena videos. That's a super obscure game.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
I feel like if it's something that is your wheelhouse, you can find an audience for it, but you have to kind of try to stay with what's within your audience. It's a lot harder to build a new audience than it is to appeal to your current audience.
No, absolutely. I think that's a really good distinction to make, actually. Like, a channel can succeed on Guilty Gear Strive, right? But like a Street Fighter channel doing a one-off or two-off Guilty Gear Strive video is a very different 100%. Story. If you have like something that is just like the love of your life and you want to focus in on it. And your passion, like if you make good videos out of that, like if it drives you to make to get high watch time and to get people to click, then you're gonna see some success for that. Now, not every game is gonna be Mortal Kombat where like there's a million like 800,000 subscriber channels I've never heard of because it's got a totally different audience. But like you can find success in your niche of a niche, right?
I mean, like the Sphere Hunter can upload a Resident Evil 4 video and get 1 million views, but if me or Brian uploads a Resident Evil 4 video, it tends to not resonate with our core audience that much.
Right. You kind of,
and that's a popular game, so
right, and you definitely like have to pigeonhole yourself a bit. You can branch out and you can grow. I mean, look at like Maximilian, right? Like he was doing
Yeah.
Marvel stuff and COD stuff, I guess, right? He was already doing Call of Duty way back in the day, but now he can do literally anything, and it's gonna get a bajillion views because like why not?
I generally advise people away from doing too much variety when you're smaller. I think you should definitely stick to a niche when you're smaller. But yeah, once you get bigger, you can branch out a little bit. But yeah, I do think, you know, what you should really be thinking about is like, who am I trying to get in my audience? Am I trying to get Street Fighter players? Am I trying to get fighting game players in general? Am I trying to get general gamers? Because for me, I rarely do videos anymore that are like specific to one current game, because I feel like I'm limiting myself to that game's player base. Whereas if I do a video about, you know, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, not that many people are playing that game anymore, but I'm appealing more to the general audience of gamers and people who might know what it is, but I'm going to be presenting the information in a way that's kind of like, okay, you might not play this game, but, you know, I'll try to make some interesting content because you're vaguely aware of the property and stuff.
Right, definitely. I mean, I don't know if you want to get super into this, not to put you on the spot, but you're an example of a channel where you had you started like kind of variety fighting game, doing different guides and stuff, and then you really blew up on Dragon Ball FighterZ, right? And I think, is it fair to say there was a little bit of growing pains transitioning back into like more variety and
yeah, definitely. Like I would get, you know, comments every day that are like, bro, like, why is, you know, this isn't Dragon Ball, so I'm not gonna watch and stuff like that. So yeah, like you definitely do run into some issues when it's like you're kind of trying to shift your audience. People are, I think people feel this streaming a lot too. Like their viewers are used to watching them for a certain thing, and you try something else and they might not like it. So there can be some growing pains, but yeah, I think the most important thing is like, do what you know. Like if there's a game that you love and that's what you want to cover, you can try to make that your niche. So don't necessarily just try to chase trends. I think that doesn't necessarily work either. But yeah, at the same time, also don't just like try a new thing every week, you know, throwing darts at the wall. You do kind of have to stick to your niche a bit.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I have one other question here. 2 people emailed me and they asked very similar questions.
Nice.
One person said, it's hard to justify existing in the same space as other creators without feeling like I'm copying their content or following trend. And someone else said, I like the idea of streaming or recording myself playing fighting games, but I don't know how to make a video that wouldn't be a blatant Brian F/JM Crofts ripoff.
Look at that. Wait a minute. They didn't even know I was involved in this. What a coincidence.
I know. Random, right? Yeah. What are your thoughts on how to make creative content that, you know, you can be inspired by the channels you like, but you feel like you're not necessarily copying the channels that you like?
You know, it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you're just playing a game, you're just going to copy like inherently you are just playing the game just like everyone else is going to play the game, right? If you're doing like a topic video or a video essay kind of thing, then yeah, maybe you don't want to immediately pick something that has just been done. But in our niche of fighting games, to me, honestly, I don't think it's that huge of a deal because a lot of the topics get covered the same over and over and over again.
Right. There's only so much ground to cover, really.
Right. Every time a new game comes out, I feel like you're going to see like a how to anti-air video, like how to get out of bronze video that's just like, just anti-air and, you know, take the throw. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to see the same kind of stuff over and over. And it's just kind of inherent to a genre like fighting games that has a lot of overlap in how the games play and stuff like that. As long as you're not directly ripping off something like a specific video, you can kind of just like try stuff and learn and grow from it, right? I don't think it's gonna like the hand of JM Cross is not gonna come down and crush you for being like, hey, you also did like a top 10 like funniest supers video, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Is that where your head is at with that?
Yeah, and I think that, let's say for my types of videos, like I made like a dedicated T-Hawk video. Okay. And like Rooflemonger has also made a dedicated T-Hawk video. So like, you know, we're covering the same topic, but I don't really consider it a bad thing to do that. But I think it's possible to definitely go too far. Like if you're making something, you know, really derivative or you don't have anything original to say, I don't know, maybe I'll get heat for this. But in general, I think that's actually one of the more fun aspects of YouTube is that, you know, there's this collaborative nature, especially the FGC in general. Like, I think it's really cool when, for example, someone makes like an Iron Man Infinite video. Like, here's me learning to do the Iron Man Infinite. And then someone else goes, okay, I'm going to try it and I'm going to see if I can do it even faster. Like, I don't think that's bad. I think that's awesome. Like, I like seeing more of that. Or like KOF 13 trials. Everyone was like, oh, everyone's just jumping on the KOF 13 trials bandwagon. But I think it's cool. I like seeing how how different people approach the same thing. So I'm a big supporter of the yoink and twist. I think you can yoink someone's idea, but it's important to do something original with it and try, whether it's for the example of like the Iron Man Infinite or KOF 13, it's like the appeal should come from you as a person. Like, how does this person react to being put in this situation? Make it fun for your viewers that way. So I think it's definitely okay to be inspired, and it's okay to put your own spin on existing ideas. Just don't be derivative in the sense that you're not coming up with any original ideas. You're just kind of doing what's already been done,
right?
I guess.
Honestly, that's not even that great of an idea, because if you're hewing that close to somebody else's material, people are just going to watch them. Like, they're the original,
right? If they're already bigger than you, like, what are you going to do? Like, just copying their video idea? Yeah.
Right. Like, so I think there's inherently kind of a safeguard. Like, if you get too close, people are going to be like, nah, I like this when I saw it on JM Groff's channel. You know what I mean? It makes me think, actually, the way you just described it was really great. And it makes me think of that, question you read out earlier about like collabing with people, right? Just do an unofficial collab, do somebody else's trial and be like, yo, I'm even better, like I did this even faster. You know what I mean? I don't know, try something like that.
Like if someone uploads a video of them doing a hard combo, you being like, oh yeah, well watch me learn this combo. I think that's totally cool. Usually when people ask me for advice on starting out on YouTube, I think my number one piece of advice is you have to have your thing that sets you apart. You have to stand out from all the other channels, because there's so many channels trying to do the same thing. So in the case of Brian, I feel like the fact that Brian is just such a good player really sets him apart. Obviously he's really funny and he's got a great personality too, but I feel like a lot of people watch Brian because he's so good. He's going to show you something you've never seen before. Whereas maybe someone like Dato Doya is not a competitive player or anything, but he's just like a hilarious guy. He has a great sense of humor. So I think people come to him because they know it's going to make them laugh. Or same thing with like Eris avoiding the puddle. Like, people love his videos just because he's hilarious. So whether it's your personality, sense of humor, how good you are as a player, or if you have some more overt gimmick, like if you're a VTuber or something, like something to set you apart, because you really do have to stand out. So I think for me, I always felt like my thing was like breaking stuff down. I always felt like I could break down a complex genre for ways that are easier for beginners to understand. So that's what I really lean into. Instead of making the ultra hardcore FGC content that you have to know how to do DP FADC to like the video, I wanted to make something that the more casual people could like. So I think that's been a big part of my success.
Yeah, definitely. Or you could have really good editing also.
Yeah, the editing helps, man. The editing and the titles and thumbnails. Everyone comes to Brian and they say how good the titles and thumbnails are, man. They're always saying it in the comments.
It's that click-through rate. I'm just trying to get that algorithm. You know me.
You gotta have that high CTR.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's all we had, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have in terms of questions. Thank you, everybody, for sending them in. I'll definitely do another post on Twitter asking for more questions for a future episode.
Yes.
So make sure to follow me on Twitter if you're not already, at Crofts.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at BIG2XA. Definitely send in more questions when you see the tweet. Follow John for more tweets, and then we hope to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, if any of you guys are interested in taking part in the whole YouTube thing, hopefully you at least found some of this helpful.